little bit of a West Ham news roundup for you today. We'll be discussing a player who may be on his way to Saudi Arabia. We've been linked with a player called Sanusi, although I think that might all be a bit of spin. We've actually been linked with a player who's been labelled by the Dutch media as a sack of potatoes. And that sounds promising, doesn't it? And we've got a 5-1 win for the under-18s. And also some little bit of news on Divin Mubama as well. In fact, when we start, let's start with the Mubama stuff. Somebody quite close to the player has indicated that he thinks that a contract could be close, that a deal could be close. They were confident. They feel confident a deal can be done. Now, I'm quite pleased to hear something from the other side. All we've heard is from the West Ham side in terms of Mubama at the moment. So it's good to hear that, and it's good to hear a little bit of positivity. I think if it were me, I'd want to see a little bit more encouragement from not from the club. As I say, if it's not about wages, it's about playing time. All the club can do is offer their contract and try and offer him an amount of money that's agreeable to the player, agreeable to the agents. If then it becomes about playing time, it's all down to David Moyes. Look, I said it in yesterday's video. Gio said it when he uploaded the video yesterday as well. We're far from the only two people saying it. I know most agree that he has to start on Thursday in Europe. Divin Mubama has to. You cannot make, I think, any sort of case for Danny Ings starting. However, and I didn't hear these comments. It's somebody else has mentioned them to me, that maybe David Moyes suggested that Danny Ings played well. Now, look, he didn't. Danny Ings didn't play well. And I don't expect David Moyes to come out in the press and say, oh, Danny Ings was crap. Why would he do that? You wouldn't do that. You wouldn't undermine your players. It'd be really, really bad man management if you did so. But I don't think you have to go so far the other way, which is by saying he played well and it was working. It clearly wasn't. It's that old adage of if you can't say anything nice, don't say anything at all. And I think just David Moyes at that point probably just should have said, look, you know, things really improved when Mubama came on, and said some really nice things about Mubama. And he did. He did say nice things about Mubama, but I think it's going to take more than a substitute appearance and some kind words for Mubama to sign that deal. He has to start in Europe. He really, really does. There's no doubt about it at all. Let's deal with the Saudi Arabia thing first up. I think, let me just click on this here. It's Zaidu Benrahma. Zaidu Benrahma is attracting interest from some of the Saudi clubs. Now, I think it's easy to consider when you think about the Saudi clubs. It's easy to think, oh, okay, they're going to give loads of money and the player will definitely go. It's not necessarily the case. I think it's in some instances far from it. If you look at the situation with Mikel Antonio was offered the chance to go to Saudi Arabia and he chose not to. Not all of them are awash with money, and they're not, well, look, none of them are skint, right? There's no Saudi club going out of business, but clearly some of them have a lot more money than the others. So we always refer to Steven Gerrard's club as the skint one. So I think they were the ones that wanted Mikel Antonio. They weren't actually offering him any more money than he was currently getting at West Ham. So why would he do it? You know, excuse me. If what you're going to do is you're going to take an upheaval of your whole family and take people over there, or maybe your family stay over here and you're going to separate yourself from them, you're going to want a lot of money. You know, you're not going to do it for the same amount that you're currently on. You might as well just stay in London, right? So don't necessarily think that there's going to be this big sack full of money. Might not happen at all. I mean, the other thing to point out is they didn't want to pay very much for him. So I think it's easy to assume that Benrahma will say, yeah, that's it, I've had enough, I'm going over there. But they won't necessarily offer us the necessary transfer fee. And who's to say Benrahma wants to go and live over there? He's lived in London for a long, long time. I think he actually lived in France before he came to London as well. I think his family are probably well settled because obviously he was at Brentford before. Nothing to suggest he's going to go over there, so I wouldn't read too much into that. Zaidu Sanusi. There we go. I want this guy because he'd be called the tumble dryer. No, the washing machine. Why do you have to call him the washing machine? Or the tumble dryer. Whatever. Something like that. Nigerian left back, 26 years of age, plays for Porto, heavily linked with Brighton. It was last season. Yeah, heavily linked with Brighton last season. Obviously didn't end up going there. Look, Tim Steidten's meant to be sending scouts out to assess him. He's not somebody that's unknown to the league, so I'm not sure how much truth there is in that. I think Porto want quite a lot of money for him. Don't think it's a priority for us right now, but if Cresswell definitely will leave at the end of this season. if he leaves in January. I don't know what the situation is with Wolves, and they wanted him. Gary O'Neill wasn't in charge, was he? So I don't know if Gary O'Neill being in charge means they still want Cresswell. I don't know. I really don't know, but he could go in January. If he does, we're going to need to sort that left-back situation out, because as good as Emerson has been, we don't look great underneath there. And I there's a part of me that thinks that maybe Thilo Kehrer could possibly be the person that David Moyes would use as a reserve left-back if Cresswell went. I think that's far from ideal as well. And let's be fair, Thilo Kehrer wants to leave, and you sort of can't blame him really either. So that's Sanusi. Before we get to the sack of potatoes, let's deal with the under 18s. They won 5-1 against Middlesbrough. What was interesting, so you've got to separate this from the under-21 team who were doing so well. I think what was interesting in this one, the under-18s are really good as well. So this is the team that primarily Dan Rigg plays in. Really, really good player. He signed a new contract for us, with us. Was after the season had started. I don't know, September, October, something like that. I'm not a million miles away. On there, we got him. He was in Man City's academy, incredibly talented player. So he's obviously, in the age group below. I think he's only just turned 17, I think. But Orford and Scarles also dropped down for that game, so they dropped out the under-21s and dropped down to this. But I mean, these kids are really, really young. Orford played really, really well, scored a goal. I think Scarles played very well by all accounts as well, and it was a 5-1 demolition. That was in the cup. We move on to play Leicester in the next round. So the academy kids, they're not kids, young men, should we say, are doing just brilliantly. Again, it's another really, really good season. And of course, we've definitely qualified from the EFL Trophy. It might be Chelmsford. I might be wrong on that. I'll come back to you on that one. But we beat Newport, we beat Cheltenham, and we beat Bristol Rovers in the league stage of that, and topped our group. So I mean, as I've said, that's the under-21s playing against grown men and beating them out of sight a lot of the time. And it's not like they're a bunch of under-21s who are all 21, 22 years of age, that sort of thing. A lot of these guys are 17, 18. I mean, they're playing above and beyond even their age group level. Absolutely brilliant. Steven Bergwijn. Steven Bergwijn has been called. I've got to get this article up just to make sure I've got this right. He was called by someone in the Dutch press. He's basically as useful as a sack of potatoes. Welcome to West Ham. Now you'll know this guy. Yeah, he played for, it was PSV. Then he went to Tottenham. I thought he was all right. I thought he had a really good game against us once, actually. Did he come on as a sub and turn the game against us? I might have that wrong. Good player, went back to Ajax for, I think it's actually still the record amount that a Dutch club have paid for a player. It was 31 million euros, something like that. So that's the Dutch record, apparently. Ajax have not been playing too well, as I understand it. I don't know. Look, I don't follow Dutch football at all. I'm just reading the news and I bring it to you guys. But can you imagine we'd plunder them for another player? I mean, we've already taken Mohamed Kudus from them. We've obviously already taken Edson Alvarez. I think if I was Ajax and West Ham came calling again, I'd be saying, no, off you go. No, we can't do this. But anyway, yeah, look, wide areas. I still think obviously he would have to play on the left. There's no way. We're already doubled up on the right for reasons that I've already discussed. I don't think Jared Bowen's a long-term answer. Always through the middle, because I think he struggles when we've got a defence that's sitting back against us on the counter-attack. I think he's really good. So look, be interested to see what happens on that. Maybe David Moyes would be looking to move Kudus into as a striker. I don't know. Look, who knows? Your guess is as good as mine. But that's somebody that we have been linked with. How much truth there is to it, I don't know. Look, for me, a striker is still a priority. And I don't have any problem at all with one of those players, either Kudus or Bowen. I'd probably play Bowen there, actually, being moved over to the left-hand side. Bowen's so direct, and I think we really lack someone that crosses early from that left-hand side. I don't mean all the time, but, I don't mind him playing out on the left. I think he should play out on the left on occasion. Anyway, there's your news roundup for today. Thanks for tuning in. I'll be back tomorrow.